How you doing, man?
Good, ready for another great one, which tonight is definitely.
I was thinking about this morning, man. I was reflecting and kind of prepping for the week, and as we
Yeah,
approach at roughly episode 260, let me say that again. I can't count the high 260, right?
wow.
Yeah. We've been blessed, man, to interview some amazing people that have inspired us
Yeah,
along the way. This morning, of course, local legend, Coach Steve, awesome guy. And then Dane, we've always talked about this. Like, I don't know if I had to really sit down, if I was in a room and had to say is sports or music. I love them both. It's like they both pull
yeah,
at my heart all the time. Well, thankfully tonight I don't have to decide. It's a music night for tonight's
yeah.
episode. I've been following a guy, man, for quite a while, man. This dude we're about to bring on, Kendall Tucker. There's a genre that I have grown to love, and I turned you on to it. Country
Yeah,
rap. It's not new. Country rap, really to an extent, just lyricists, if you will, with a kind of a country backbeat. I
yeah,
think of guys like Colt Ford, Bubba Sparks, who paved the way. This guy, Kendall Tucker, is taking it and kind of taking the torch and taking it with him. He's got
yeah,
some tracks. Obviously, he just dropped one with the fella you may know, Jelly Roll, and State of Mind. These three guys on a track together is just it's going to be great. But what got
yeah,
me into this guy was he dropped a track a while back called "God's Still Working on Me." What I
yeah,
love about Kendall Tucker, Dave, I'm going to tell you right now. I love guys or ladies that are so honest and say, "Hey, you know
yeah,
what? I may have problems, but they don't judge others. They say, come with me. Let me bring you into my circle. Let me love
yeah.
on you a little bit while
Absolutely.
I talk about real life." And
Yeah,
nobody defines real life, real living better than Kendall Tucker. So, Dave, before as you know, before I fanboy out, get
yeah.
right down to it and bring on the man of the hour, Kendall Tucker. Hey, bro, how you doing, man?
Hey man, that's a heck of an intro. I appreciate it. I'm good. How you guys doing?
Amazing.
Excellent. Thank you for your time tonight. We really appreciate it. We can't say enough thank yous to you.
Yeah, man.
Oh, for sure, man. I appreciate you guys reaching out.
Kendall, I meant what I said, man. You're so I love it. Your lyrics, your passion for real life, real living. Hey, you know
Yeah,
what? I go to church on Sunday, but I have struggles during the week. I love
yeah,
everything about you're such a real dude. It just inspires me to kind of want to try hard just listening to you. So we're gonna dive into some question sets. Over the years, the audience and Dane and I have kind of cultivated a question set. I'll
yeah,
take the lead here. Thinking about what you've been doing, I go back to the first single through now. 14 or 15 singles deep, kind of got a good thing going. Taking back to when this began, maybe even before you got with digital or record deals or things like that. When did you get the love for this? When did this creative process begin for you in your life, if you will?
mm,
Yeah. So, as far as music goes, I've always had a love for music. My dad was a country singer. I grew up on all types of music: rap, country, rock. I mean, I listened to everything, Christian, and I would say around my 11th grade year, I think, yeah, it was 11th grade in high school. We had to do a pep rally, and my class had an idea of doing a rap song, and I was like, I want to try to do that. So I wrote a verse, and I was like, man, this was kind of fun. So the whole school liked it, and then my buddy came to me, and he said, man, I would really like to, start going around to schools and churches and doing some performances. So I actually started in the Christian rap field.
mm,
Um,
mm.
our group was called Cross Bears, actually, and
Yeah,
we
good
were
stuff.
we yeah we weren't the best, but we it was a beginning, and we had a good time with it, man. So I did that for a few years, but I always loved country music. So even when I
Mm.
rapped, I always listened to country music. So around the time my father passed in 2018, I always found myself listening to old country music and everything, and
Yeah,
and that's when I knew who they were, but I never really looked into Colt Ford and Bubba Sparks. I knew who they were, but I never really dove into
mhm.
like their catalog. And I started looking at them and Upchurch and the Lax and a lot of these guys, and I'm like, man, I think this fits me more because I'm in Ocala. It's the horse capital of the world. I grew up in the country, so I'm like, man, if I could combine both, this is like my world right here. And ever since, we've been getting bigger and bigger every year, and God's been good, man.
It's crazy, Dave. Before you take two, and
Yeah,
all the bands you said, I love the Lax, obviously Bubba Sparks, and again, man, I can't say enough about this. I heard this story, and I got to tell you this, Kendall, real quick. Recently, Kat Von D, love that she's kind of turned her life around, and respect that. And
mhm.
she said one of the most discouraging pieces of her journey of faith was the church, how they kind of look down on her, and like, it's like of all people, you think the church would kind of like open her arms to her, right?
Yeah,
So I say that to say, man, it's cool to see you have this background of faith, but you also have this real, like, hey man, sometimes faith is cool, but we gotta be real sometimes too. And then you look at the Lax, Colt Ford, your journey. It's like you're taking the best of both worlds. And like at an early age, man, back in high school, you kind of figured out this niche where like, hey, let me take it a little bit deeper, be real, but also kind of still be inspiring at the same time. So I just gotta say, shout out to you, man, because not many
Yeah,
people can do that. It's
absolutely.
really cool, you know.
Yeah,
So
man, I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And I just watched the interview on Kat Von D, and yeah, much respect to her. And I
Yeah,
know where
absolutely.
she's coming from. You know, it's funny, when I first started, when I was doing Christian rap, I had some opportunities to open for, I guess you would say, secular
yeah,
rappers.
Mhm.
So I mean, I've opened up for Lil Wayne, I've opened up for T-Pain,
that's cool.
Trick Daddy, Boosie, Plies, Yin Yang Twins. I've opened up
Mhm.
for all those guys. And you know, when I first announced my first show outside of the church walls, it was doing a show with T-Pain in Jacksonville.
That's
And you
cool.
would not believe the hate I got from
Yeah,
Christians. And I'm like, man, you think Jesus did ministry within four walls? You think
right.
he? So it's a church isn't supposed to. A church is just a building you meet
Yeah,
at, but you're
it's the
supposed to
people.
be
Yeah.
outside
Yeah,
those walls. So you know, I might not necessarily be in the Christian music field now, but you know, I try to be a light and
yeah.
you
No,
know,
you
try
did.
to
I,
try to
I
show that as much as possible.
I don't mean to
Oh
interrupt you,
yeah.
but as Zane knows, I think you're even more real than ever. And again, I have a lot of friends in that world, so trust me, I'm not saying it in a negative way, but I think what
Yeah,
you're doing now is even more of a positive light because you're saying, hey, even with dragging me down, that's some heavy stuff, dude. But you're also talking about
Yeah.
real life, and there's a way out too. So Dane, help me because you know I'll get
Yeah.
on a rabbit hole. Dane, save me,
Oh
Dane.
yeah. Well, when you started, getting a toehold in the things that you enjoy doing, the path that you're going now, when did you start doing your own shows, and when did you start saying, okay, this is the path I want to go, and how did you strike out on your own to getting those shows planned
Yeah.
and booked and things like that?
I would say, you know, I started this in 2011 writing music, and but I would say from 2012 to 2018, I would call it more of a hobby. I wasn't
Mhm.
really making music or making money with music. I was kind of
Mhm.
just dropping a song here and there, record it in my room. Wasn't really recording the studio. Just you know, just having fun with it. I wasn't really trying to pursue it as far as like a job goes. And then
Mhm.
like I said, when my dad passed in 2018, he knew how much I love music, and he's like, "Man, I really think you got this." Like
Mhm.
on his deathbed, he's like, keep going," and it really kind of put some fire under my butt, and I was like, you know what? And I I think I had like 150 monthly listeners at the time, and I recorded this song called "Letter to Heaven,"
Hmm.
and I wrote it kind of like therapy because us as artists we kind of write music as like it really helps us. It's like therapy, and I didn't even know if I was going to put the song out. I kind of just wrote Letters to Heaven just for myself. And
Mhm.
one day I met Craig Campbell, which has always been one of my favorite country singers, and I played it for him, and he's like, "Man, I love that song." And I was kind of joking. I was like, "Hey, you like to jump on it?" He's like,
That's
"Let's do
cool.
it." And I was like, "What?"
Wow.
So he jumped on it, and when he jumped on it, I'm like, "Man, I got to put this song out and see if anybody will ever hear it." So I put the song out, and 4 or 5 days later, I said, "I'm gonna download Spotify for Artists and see what it's done." And I was like, "I wonder if anyone ever heard that song." I think it was the fourth day later. I downloaded it, and it said I had 110,000 monthly listeners.
Oh,
Let's
And
go. Yeah, let's go.
I was like, wait, hold up, what? And then I clicked my Instagram, and I had like 50 or 60 message requests from people in Finland and Germany and Australia, and talking about how they just lost someone that they love in their life, and how this song has helped them. And that really kind of motivated me. And that was my first country/rap song that I've ever done. So when I seen that, it really put some fire under my butt. And ever since then, we just continue been growing.
That song is legit,
wow.
man. I'm glad you recorded it because it's a great song. It's helped me
Thanks,
and
man.
my wife and I, our father-in-law passed, and we use that song as some therapeutic stuff. So you're
Mm.
right. Respect your dad. So
Yeah.
shout out, man. Rest in peace to your
Yeah.
pops as well.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
mean,
Appreciate
yeah.
it. Thank
Go
you.
ahead, Dan.
yeah, giving you that much needed send off that you need for confidence. I mean, everybody needs that whenever they're going along on their path at the beginning.
Yeah.
Now that you've done, you mentioned some of those artists you've worked with, and also on your own doing shows. Do you have maybe one or two vivid memories of thus far of a show or a project you've worked on that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah.
Man, I That is a hard question because I've had so many good shows. I mean, just this past weekend, both shows were great. I mean, Friday I was at the Stockyard with Colt Ford. I do a lot of shows with Colt.
Wow.
I would say we do at least 10 to 12 shows a year together.
Mhm.
And Friday, I actually 10 minutes before I was supposed to hit the stage, I about blacked out. I wasn't feeling good, and I didn't know if I could make it through. I didn't eat all day, and I was
Oh, wow.
like, I was just sick as a dog Friday. And I was telling my band, I was like, guys, I'm gonna try to go up there and give it my all, but I don't know if I can even make it through the first couple songs. And that song started, my drummer kicked off, and I went out there, and the crowd was just so electrifying. I just felt a lot better and was, you know, lucky enough to make it through the whole set. But it was just a great show. I've had so many cool experiences. You know, Dirt Road Anthem, Colt
Oh,
Ford
yeah.
and Brent Gilbert wrote that song.
Yeah,
And
great
every time
song.
I do a show with Colt, he always brings me on stage to do Dirt Road Anthem with him. And to be able to do a song with someone that you look up to and that has become like a brother to you, and such a big song. I mean, just that alone, every time I get to perform that on stage with Colt, is just like I can't believe this is happening kind of moment.
Right.
Doesn't matter how long I've known Colt.
That's cool.
It's awesome every time.
Wow, man. They're great
Yeah.
too, by the way. Shout out to them. We've had Tim on the show before. He's a great drummer. Tim from the band, Colt's
Yeah.
drummer. Great dude, man. Just they're all so welcoming, and I'm glad Colt's doing better too, by the way. Thank God he's doing better, it's cool.
Oh
So,
yeah, he's doing a lot better.
thank God for that. But man, no, it's funny, man, as influence comes to mind, and obviously I can hear the Colt, but to me, again, no artist wants to be like, you know how it is, like you don't want to be pinpointed and like I sound like this person or that person. When I hear you, if I was gonna say there's an artist that I think of, Low Cash comes to mind a little bit. Sorry, love them. I just hear that a little bit. Obviously, House of Pain comes to mind. Everlast. I hear more of like this eclectic writer thing when I hear you. I love the beats. I love the backbeat. I love the Craig Morgan. I love the fact that you tie in these great country artists. I'm curious, man. Obviously, shout out to Colt. Some of these icons. There's got to be maybe a few early on, and it could be any genre. What's a couple, maybe 2 or 3 of your Mount Rushmore of artists that have influenced you overall in your career?
Yeah.
I feel like I got a Mount Rushmore for every genre, kind of, but because like I said, I grew up on all genres, but I listened to a lot of Eminem growing up.
Okay.
I loved Eminem, but then I also loved Toby Keith. Rest in peace, Toby.
Yep.
Yeah.
I listened to a lot of Toby Keith with my dad growing up. So Toby Keith, Eminem, and even like them guys like in the Christian rap, like Lecrae.
Yeah.
Lecrae and Tripoli and them guys, it's really hard to put my finger on like who, because I pulled from so much, and then Skillet, and then Papa Roach, and like it's crazy. If you're listening to my phone, you don't know what's coming on next. It could be 50 Cent, and then it could be Mercy Me. I don't know.
Let's go. There you go. It's real life. That's real life.
You don't know.
Yeah. You're going to go from Mini Men to like Mercy Me. And it's real life. That's what I love about you. Dude.
Yeah,
it's like, hey,
that's
we're not going to play around. Let's go.
Whatever I'm in the mood for, man.
I love that. That's cool, man. I get you. So you draw from a broad spectrum of music, and you can hear that.
Sure. Yeah.
Again, Dane, before you take 4, I have to say, Kendall, I was a little bit intrigued because when you take, again, even your latest single was State of Mind, that is not your typical, it's cool and it works. So you got this almost shine down type of guitar hook, if you will. You bring in your style, and then it's like, wait, it just works. So you're right. There's just organized chaos. I guess that's what we can call it.
And shout out to Jelly Roll too, man. To be able to get Jelly Roll on a track was just,
yeah, it's cool, man.
Just crazy, man. So yeah, shout out to Jelly Roll. Shout out to State of Mind. They're killing it. I love those guys. So yeah, that song did extremely well for me, and still streaming extremely well every single day. So shout out to everyone listening.
But it just goes to, I have to say this, you don't get to that place where, again, I am a fan, but I'm not just fanboying out. You take your name, you take Jelly Roll, you take Colt Ford, same breath. You have arrived, man. And I see it now, where if you think about that, where you're in that, when you think back over your career, as you maybe down the road 40 years from now, when you're kind of like finally settling down, you got Kendall Tuckers, you got Colt Fords, you got Low Cashes. You're in that same breath, and it's cool. Like, you have arrived, man. So Dane, help me out. I'll keep going, Dane. Save me, Dane.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's always good music, and especially to hear it live. I mean, the passion that somebody like yourself that writes and is a songwriter, and the things you talk about, all the passion comes out. So now that you're on the road, you did some shows this weekend, and we're obviously in the thick of 2024. What do you see on the horizon for you coming this year? What are some of the, if you can divulge some of the things that you're working on this year that you're planning to put out, or more shows? What's on the docket for you this year?
Yeah, so I've always dropped singles. I've never dropped a full-length album or an EP. I just recently got connected with a couple guys, great producers. They own a studio called Recording Ranch that just recently opened up in Ocala. And I'm partnering with them, and we are planning on putting out an EP this summer.
Nice.
So I'm working on that. It's kind of it's a Southern rock, country, rap. It's more heavier. It's not so much like the Jelly Roll song I put out, but it's along the lines of Southern rock. So it's different than what people have heard. Kind of like Hardy. I don't know if you listen to much to Hardy, but
absolutely.
It's kind of like what Hardy's doing. So I'm super pumped, super excited to give it to people. I tell people it's kind of like the country version of Linkin Park, Kid Rock. So I'm excited to let the people hear it.
What comes to mind, Kendall, and I know you probably know this because you're a student of music, when you said that, because I read a lot of blogs about you, I've heard it's going to be a little bit more like Maylene and the Sons of Disaster is what I'm hearing. So I don't know if that's if I could go a deep cut like that, I'm looking for some Maylene from you. Is that even possible?
That's a good one.
Okay, got you. Okay, good, man. So country and Linkin Park, I'm excited to hear it, bro. So obviously everything you touch, man, turns to gold. So you could probably make polka and it'd be dope. So I'm excited to hear it. You know? So
I appreciate it. Thank you.
But we are going to transition, man. I got to tell you about this little segment. Over the course of doing this show, we've been a little blessed. We're on in 28 countries, from Fiji to Finland to Florida. Our fans give us questions all the time and say, hey, with your artist, please submit these questions for rapid fire. So this segment we're about to do, we're going to keep it PG, but we're going to get really weird for a second. Okay, we're going to get weird. And with this segment, there's no wrong answer. We're going to do kind of a Rorschach test, and we're going to pick your personality. Dane and I already have these questions. We bet on what we think you're going to say. We think you're going to say certain things. So whoever gets closer to picking your brain is the winner, and the loser has to buy the winner lunch. Got
oh gosh! All right.
So don't worry, man. No wrong answer. You go with the heart, and then we'll tell you who wins or loses, and the winner gets lunch provided by the loser. Cool?
All right.
Now, for this segment, what's cool about this, for a moment, we're going to imagine you can go time travel back in time, present, things like that. Possibly even some of the artists we suggest can come back to life. For a moment, time doesn't exist, and you can even go back in time. It's just for fun. Okay? So, ready? Awesome. So, first question, man. You're obviously very well known. People know you for what you've done. The modern day Kendall Tucker. They're going to take you with your body of work right now. They're going to take you back to 1991. You just time travel. Say, hey Kendall, we need you to open up for one of these two. I love both of these guys. You're going to open up for one of these two artists, and you get to decide. You can open up for Beastie Boys, love them, or you can open up for House of Pain. Which one are you going with?
Oh shoot, that's a hard one. I'm gonna go with Beastie Boys.
Oh, I had House of Pain, bro. I'm hurting. Dane, how about you, man? What'd you have?
Oh yeah, Beastie Boys all the way.
Okay, that's fine, Dan. You got one on me. Dane won this morning, so we'll see how far we go. So no worries, Kendall. Again, no wrong answer. Go with the heart. Second one. You know, ghostwriting's a thing. I'm sure you've done that. A lot of ghostwriters. It's part of Nashville. If you live in Nashville, you ghostwrite. So we're gonna go back to. This is gonna be also another '90s question. We're gonna go back to 1989. Kendall Tucker, who you are now, you time travel back like Terminator does with Skynet. You're sitting in 1989. You get a ghostwrite and make up the lyrics for one of these two iconic songs. They're both great in their own right, but you get to decide which one you want to be credited for writing. The first one, Friends in Low Places, we all love it, or Stay With Me Now. The second one, you can be responsible for creating Achy Breaky Heart. Great in their own way. Which one are you going with?
Oh man. If you say you don't like Achy Breaky Heart, you're a liar.
Right?
But,
right.
Oh, absolutely.
Man, these are good questions.
No wrong
I
answer.
personally met someone that wrote on Friends in Low Places.
Okay.
And I will tell you, He's still making a lot of money to this day. I think I'm gonna go with that one.
Okay, Harney, I had achy breaky heart, Dan. How about you, man?
Oh yeah, I had achy breaky. I can still dance to it.
By the way, Kendall, I'm not gonna be mad at you if you bring back the New Balance Velcro with the mud flat mullet. I will not be mad. Just saying, bro. Okay, so
I try to do a mullet. My wife said I can't pull it off.
Bro, it's never a bad idea, no matter where you are. So, all right. So, Dan, you've got one. Dan's got one up on me. Next question. So, this is about to get real gutsy for a second. We're going back to 1996. In my personal opinion, the two greatest rap albums. I'm not saying that I don't love all of rap, but the two greatest single rap albums are either A, Life After Death, or All Eyes on Me. It's my opinion. So you're called up and say, hey, something happens. There's like a Vegas show, and both of these guys show up and say, Kendall, we want to battle rap you just for fun. You can choose to battle rap against Pac, or you can battle rap against Biggie. Which one are you going with?
When it comes to battle rap, I would probably pick Pac.
Let's go, man. Let's go. I had Pac for that one. So Dane, we're tied. What'd you have, Dane?
Yeah, I had Biggie. Man,
Let's go. Let's go.
He's
Love
smooth,
it.
man. That guy's smooth. I just like his flow.
I love it. So catching up. So a couple more.
I'll take back. I think Biggie would be harder to battle.
Right. I do too. I think
So
Pac is.
I go against Pac.
I think better lyricists, again, if given time, studio sessions. They said Pac can write an album in 15 minutes. I've read many documentaries about him, but on the spot, I'm with you, man. So two more. Obviously, I know you're a student of rock and country, and you're a student of music. So we're going back to 90s is hitting hard tonight. So we're going back to 1993 and say, hey, you can sit down and just have a entire day session writing an album. Someone's going to help you write your EP. You can call on one of these two lead singers to help you write your EP. The two choices, this is going to be deep. You can choose Lane Staley from Alice in Chains, my favorite band of all time, or you can choose Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam to help you write an album. Lane or Eddie, who's going to help you?
I'm going with Lane.
Let's go. Oh, Dane, I am on fire right now. Dane, what'd you have, Dane? So.
I Eddie Vedder.
Let's go. Okay. So we're tied. Here's the last question. So this is where it's about to be really eclectic, because I know, like you said, of your genres that go from contemporary to Christian to rap. This last question. Both of these artists, finally, we have a late 70s, early 80s question. You're the age that you are, your body of work, they just time warp you back to this time frame. Both of these singers say, hey, look, I'm sick. I can't make it tonight to the show. I need you to fill in and cover my set for the night, to basically be me for the night. Very broad spectrum of music. Your two choices, you can fill in for the night for legendary Johnny Cash, love him, or you can fill in for the night for Rich Mullins. Both great in their own right, dude. Johnny or Rich, which one you going with, bro?
They're both legends, but this was actually a pretty easy one for me. I love Johnny Cash.
Let's go. I have
Yeah. Man in Black. Oh, yeah.
Nate, did you have that?
Oh, yeah. Everybody should have had that one, I think. That's a tough one, though.
I'm not going to lie, bro. I could see you singing some Rich Mullins. I'm just saying, bro. I could see you making like a little dope beat to it, kind of dropping it. Oh, God. I could just see it, man. But yeah, no. Well, so Dane, this is twice in like the last year that Dane's beat me. So Dane, I owe you lunch. I'll send you some ramen, Dane. You got me, man.
All right.
I love it. Well, Kendall, man, thank you, bro. Hopefully in interviews and media, that's a little something different that you haven't had before. So thanks for being a good sport, okay?
Hey, I appreciate you guys for having me on, man. Anytime.
Last one, so we'll transition to Dane for the last segment.
Yeah.
So
This last segment, Kendall, we call it open mic. We open up the floor to our guests to maybe talk to some of that next generation of stars that are coming up, aspiring young artist or athlete or anybody that's wanting to do something great with their life and needs maybe a word of encouragement or something to help them get kickstarted like your father had given you. Is there maybe a philosophy or a mantra that you've carried with you thus far in your life that kind of helps you do the things that you do and do them well, that you can maybe pass on to that next generation?
That's good.
Yeah, a couple things I'd say is, one, always be yourself. Don't let people, form you into something you're not. It's authentic is always the best. So always be yourself. When it comes to music, if anyone's watching this and they want to pursue music, and really it's probably anything in life, networking is key.
Hmm.
In this music industry, you either need a lot of money or you need the right connections. It's who you know. And
Hmm.
so I would say, I've been blessed to meet the right people along the way. And you just got to get out there, network. You never know who knows who.
Yeah,
And if you want it bad enough, then just go chase it. Work hard. Takes hustle, work hard. And like I said, most importantly, just authentically be yourself.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That's spot on, Kendall. I think you're a combination of things, man. I got to say this before you go because I know you're a busy man, but we interviewed a guy from Jonathan Davis of Korn. His guitarist is like, you're talking about being yourself, right? And he's like, man, if you make music and you make what you love and you really
yeah,
believe in what you're making, you're going to find a following.
right.
Well, lo and behold, there's a big genre of people that like what you do. So you doing what you do and kind of staying true to yourself. You
Yeah,
haven't had to change a bit. I love that you are legitimately the
yeah,
same dude you were
absolutely.
2013, like you said. But now people see that they flock to genuine. People don't like cookie cutter. We like, hey, show me the real you, and I'll follow that.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
it's working, dude. So shout out to
And
you,
I'll
man.
say, and
yeah,
I'll say this. I mean, I've everything I always try to be authentic and be myself. But I would say the songs that have done best for me is the songs that are closest to my heart
Yeah.
and just ones I put out. The ones that meant the most to me is the ones that have been doing well for me. So
Yeah.
it's proven fact. So
wow.
Well, Kendall, dude, I tell you what, man, I'm not saying this. Please let this be the first of many. Obviously, maybe as you guys drop the EP later on down this year, would love to have you back. First of many,
Yeah,
let's make sure we stay in
absolutely.
touch. We're happy. We're going to be shouting it out and celebrating and pushing it. So as that
Yeah,
time comes, don't be a stranger. Let's make this the first of many, and let's make this a recurring thing. Okay. So
absolutely.
appreciate it, guys. Anytime, just hit me up and I'm on.
we will, brother. Take care,
Excellent.
man, and best of luck to you.
Thank
We'll
you.
be watching from afar. Okay. Take care,
All right,
brother.
guys. Thanks.
Thanks, man.
Bonjour.
So Dane,
Thank
I'm
you.
telling you, man, like there's something about Kendall Tucker, dude. When I said Dane, just so genuine, so real. That to me, Dane, represents the message of hope and faith better than anything. What'd you think, man? Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you get artists that write things, and some of them think you're, like you said, they might be filling a niche, or they're playing to a crowd. He's just being authentic in what he's doing. So his message is going to ring true for so many more people, and a lot of people are going to gravitate towards him, which is a great thing for any artist to aspire to have, is your base that comes to you, and they're going to be with you in the long haul, not just until you cut your next album. And if they may like it or may not, they know that you're genuine, and they'll enjoy it because they can relate to you. And I mean, there's no better fan base to have than those who relate to you.
So it's like, you know me, Dane. I study music constantly. I mean, I'm literally, I'm like, I'll send you probably 30 or 40 songs a week. Joe, check this
Yeah,
out, check this out, check this out. So when I started following this guy, I'm like, man, there's something about, I'm always a fan of like, hey, who's got this real, raw talent? I don't want to hear polished. What I like about this guy is some of his
yeah,
tracks, if you listen to it, you can tell he doesn't like polish out the mistakes. I love that. Like these outlaw countries, when you talk about Johnny Cash and even like the Kings of Leon, the guys that I freaking love, when you hear like these little bits of like blemishes and like mistakes in their songs, that makes me happy. So this guy, he's a good singer. He's got a great voice. He's very
yeah,
powerful and talented, but he also, no wonder people like Jelly Roll, State of Mind, Bubba Sparks, no wonder even Craig has approached him because the dude is legit, genuine. Rock and roll, Christian, country, whatever genre that you want to go, all we're trying to do is find something real, and this dude is as real as it
yeah.
comes. So
Well, let me point out that you may be able to hear the mistakes. I'm not as technologically sound as you are. So
oh man,
it all sounds great to me. I mean, the stuff that you've turned me on to, and Kendall's no exception. I mean, I've enjoyed all of it. I go into it with an open mind, even if I think at the beginning of it is, well, I haven't really listened to much of this. But you go into open mind, and I've been pleasantly surprised of all the stuff that I've heard from him, and I'll continue to listen because it puts you, no matter where you're at, it puts you in a mood that he's trying to convey. So he's doing something well if he can do that, no matter how you feel in a day.
he said this thing one time about during the interview. He said, "Always be yourself," right? And I remember times I've shared with you growing up playing music. You were there. So we talk about times where, hey, let's emulate this band. Let's emulate these
Yeah.
guys. So let's emulate this singer. Let's try it
Right.
like this. When he if you listen to his songs, you can't really figure him out. It's like, okay, 1 second it's like this Garth Brooks thing. Next up, it's like, okay, that's Johnny Cash. Next, it's like some Shine Down. Like, where's this guy going? And it's like
Yeah.
he's being himself. He's following whatever he wants to do, and he's not letting anybody tell him he can't do it. Who
Yeah.
says I can't do country and rock and rap and
Yeah.
positive inspirational Christian? No, I'm
Yeah.
gonna decide that, you know. So when he
Yeah.
said like a Mercy Me or like a Metallica, he meant what he said. Like, yo,
Yeah.
this is me. So I don't know. In today's world, Dane, like there's something about modern our age. You know, I know
Yeah.
you have a few years on me, but people want to be able to connect to something,
Yeah.
someone that can help them feel like, hey, I'm not alone. Whether it is the contemporary, maybe Christian side, which he's dealt with, or the
Mhm.
country or the more like adult theme side, all I want to
Right.
do is be able to find someone that connects to me, and nobody does it better than Kendall Tucker. So,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
I got a feeling, Dan, we're going to look back on this one here in about a year or so when he's at the CMA Awards, Jelly Roll this year. But I don't think it's going to be long before this dude really kind of has that little
Yeah.
niche and is grinding, you know? So,
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody listening, go give him a listen. You won't be disappointed. And it's just great music to do anything to. I mean,
man.
he's a great artist, great songwriter. His lyrics are solid, and man, there's just nothing but good things you can say about his music.
I would say Dragging Me Down, God's Still Working on Me, and of course, Letters, Visit the Past. All of the stuff's great, but obviously, Dragging Me Down, it's his newest single, and the concept of this, and I think today's world, you know, we're bouncing back post-COVID. Everyone's kind of in the spot. We're trying to figure out what to do next with ourselves and how we think about the world, right?
Yeah.
And his single's talking about, it's probably the most positive faithful elements I've heard in a long time. He's talking about
Right.
overcoming addiction and doing
Mhm.
it through a way where I'm not going to let addiction beat me. I'm going to beat the addiction. And that could be
Right.
anything. It could be alcoholism, substance. It could be, you know, working too much. You name it, right? There's no
Yeah.
one thing that makes us addicted, but he's talking about
Right.
overcoming that and not letting that drag you down. That to me, Dane, when someone's real about, hey, I'm fighting real life, I don't want to know that you're perfect because I can't live up to that. I want to
Yeah.
relate to someone who's not perfect and we're in this together. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Yeah. Absolutely.
wow, it's so good. Well, yeah, guys, that's Kendall Tucker. Thank you, my man. No wonder people are knocking at your door, and I can't wait. If you ever do get a CMA visit, please let your boys know, and I can make that trip, and you know we'll drive out, Dane and I. So that's a good one, Dane. We have many
Yeah.
more content to come. In the midst of this episode, we've confirmed a few things. So kind of spill it, Dan.
Yeah.
I've got some positive
Yeah.
news.
Let's get it.
So you know we're big on softball. We probably had a few people know we've started off doing softball, and that's kind of our baby. So next week, the legend, Coach Boxmeer, Ashley, we can't wait to connect next week for season 3. And then, of course, on the 10th, we just confirmed Alyssa Razzo, the Powerhouse
Yeah.
Mechanics Coach herself, is coming back. So we've got
All
some
right.
great softball in the mix, along with some many musicians. So
Yep.
you know, we keep a blend of sports and music. So tonight was a great way to kind of resurge and kick off middle of season 3.5, if you will, if I could say that. So, guys, don't forget, as always, on behalf of Dane and I and the show and everyone listening around the world, don't forget, as always, that we love you. And Dane?
Thank you for listening.